It is usually said that we need about 5 seconds to make the first impression, and there is no second chance to make the first impression. A lot of books and videos tell us how to do this right, but unfortunately there are some unconscious barriers that may be overcome trying to fix especially them. So think of the last acquaintance you had. What do you think helped you to get some general info about this person, like employed, studying, retired? I think that one of the most impactable indicators was the age of this person. And now we may sarcastically say that, oh really? Unbelievable, thank you! Now I'm going to become a Dale Carnegie. And yeah, in some way it may sound trivial to you, but it contains a lot of threats and benefits from fixing this prejudice. Rating by age is dangerous discovering personalities, but may be helpful estimating some general things. And nowadays there's a very thin line. For example, we've got used to seeing a billionaire like a 50-60 years old person who has come through a long career path. But look at Mark Zuckerberg. Another time we think that becoming a bankrupt at the age of 63 selling fried kitchen is the end. It's time to retire. But Colonel Sanders, the founder of KFC, was thinking another way, selling his fried kitchen technology franchise and becoming a millionaire at the age of 70. Somebody would say that these ages were inappropriate for what they did. These were two extremes. But their favorite day was today. All the time of my conscious being, I've been dreaming about becoming an entrepreneur. I remember myself sitting on the chair in my grandmother's flat. I was absolutely upset about what could I start with. I wouldn't say I was upset. I was confused and depressed, telling to myself, what can I do just now to become closer to my dream? Do you think these thoughts don't correlate with an 8-year-old child? If you answer they don't, you're right. Because they correlate with a person who is a perfectionist, obsessed with a certain idea to become an entrepreneur. Yet without a particular plan, but with unbeatable desire. So this 8-year-old child should face a lot of difficulties. It may be getting business education, MBA, skills, experience, like-minded people, and so on. A lot of problems are expected. So I started to get as much information as possible, reading books, passing courses, and taking part in business programs and projects. I thought that was the time to try something. Maybe launch a startup? The way of getting a potential help is asking experienced people. You may be warned by a lot of threats. That's a brilliant way. Not without personal mistakes, but tips will most likely help you. And the most popular answer you are given is like, listen boy, you're not at that age to do this. You'll get to know how to do this as you'll get older. At your age you should. Your age is inappropriate for what you want to do. In those cases I realized that people rated me, relating my personal qualities to my age. For a long time I couldn't define what's the problem I faced. Sounds like a heroic poem, isn't it? So we know the hero, but who is the evil? Do you know that feeling when you can't determine something but can realize it? And when somebody does it instead of you, you are just looking at this person with bulging eyes, like he or she just got it near you. And my friend pointed me to my problem. And I'm going to fight ageism. Ageism is the discrimination of a person on the basis of his or her age. It's desire to cooperate only with a certain group of people. Stereotypes allow quick social perception. They require little efforts. So when a person has a negative attitude towards older people and at the same time has elderly friend, loved one or relative, it pushes him to create a subcategory for friend or relative. This helps to combine best of both worlds. They do not contradict in case of elderly man and relative, and maintain a stereotype towards older people as a group. I think that this discrimination may be caused by some factors. The first one is appearance. We usually correlate the age of a person and how he or she looks. So, for example, if I say an 80 years old grandpa, you imagine a person about 1 and 6 meter height, 70 kilograms, leisurely, and truly that's not bad to estimate. But almost nobody stops there. Then it comes to rating a character, principles, values, and so on. And that may be really unrespectable. The second one is experience. We've got used to matching the experience of a person and the age. There is an interesting hypothesis of spending 10,000 hours doing what you are passionate about. Some time ago, it took so much time to reach this indicator. But nowadays, there are a lot of people who are so crazy and passionate about their idea that they can reach this indicator in a short term. For example, 5-7 years. Let's estimate. There is a child who is passionate about football. He is 5 years old and he trains every day for 3 hours. Therefore, he will reach his 10,000 hours in 10 years, when he would be 15 years old. That is why even a teenager may have better experience than an adult. But I should mention that the quality of experience may provide the main value. And I think the third factor may be awareness. Being conscious means having great values, principles, and desires. We usually correlate the elderly person with the wisdom. But I think that self-recognition depends on used instruments, which nowadays are available for almost everybody, and experience. We can see more manifestations of ageism in spheres like employment, healthcare, laws, getting some social status, some interviews for getting job, and conversations. So, it's hard for older people to be attractive. The elderly aren't treated well, and it's hard for people of the age and beginners to get a job. We can tease that ageism has significant effect in two specific sectors. It's employment and healthcare. But there are very interesting cases in Hollywood. Ageism in Hollywood, especially when it comes to the women, is at least proven by the way Yas is celebrated in the media, and how there are only few jobs for older actresses. The way how Yas is celebrated has direct bearing on the way older women are represented in the media. By the way, we can usually hear that older people are worthy of excessive respect, though that's the nonsense. And the person can only achieve this with his or her own actions and words. And the argument, listen to me, I'm older, is obsolete. Everybody needs to be respected regardless of the age. There are a lot of stereotypes imposed on older people. Indeed, the term old is often used to humiliate another person, using phrases like old fool and so on. Those who use such expressions naturally don't consider themselves to be in this age group. They believe that older people follow proven path and incapable of accepting new ideas. Ageism can be met simply when looking for a job. For example, when employers require employees under 35, believing that at 36 they'll no longer be able to work. Isn't that silly? But let's be honest, nowadays requirements may look like we need a person who is 20, 25 years old, with 30 years old experience. And welcome! 2006-2007 poll by Children's Rights Union and National Children's Bureau surveyed about 4,060 children and young people if they were treated unfairly based on various criteria like age, race, gender, age, sexual orientation, and so on. A total of 43% of British youth reported having experienced discrimination based on their age, overshadowing other categories like gender 27%, race 11%, and sexual orientation 6%. How many times did you catch yourself thinking about correlating between the decision you want to make and your age? Okay, I want to, but stop. Will it be suitable for my age? If the impact of age is too influential, we can't discover people well enough. We can lose the fresh or experienced point of view, which could get to know us something hidden from overloaded users. Age can make our consequences foggy. It may interrupt our desire to get to know a person better. People who are rated by age start to limit themselves. They begin to perceive themselves and see themselves as society sees them. These stereotypes become self-fulfilling prophecies. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? There is a theory that we have three main positions in communication. According to this model, a person takes a certain position when communicating. It defines who and how will react and behave. These positions are called ego states, and there are only three of them: parent, adult, and child. Parent instills stereotypes about life. The parent's functions are to teach and explain, control what is done, take care of themselves and others. Adult, objective and reasonable approach to reality. The functions of an adult are to negotiate, adapt, correspond to reality, consider desires, plans and events. And child, spontaneity, creativity and self-expression. The functions of a child are to desire and create a picture of what we want. These roles are more related to our mindset, our psychological state. So, choose the right role based on the result you want to achieve. I recommend you to be open to any role to get more benefit, because different choices direct to different efforts. And choosing the right role in the right moment with the right people, adding some luck, may make historical things. So, don't be afraid of being as a child if you are an adult, and being pragmatic and objective, thinking like an adult if you are a child. These unexpected mixes make unexpected results. It will help you to be ready for any idea. Imagine if you are a CEO of a great international company. So to your colleague, you'll communicate as an adult. But for your parents, you'll always be a child. And for your children, you'll always be a parent. Consider communicating to your colleagues as a child, landing new product and evaluating it. Behave yourself as a parent with your parents, and seriously pursue crazy ideas of your child. There is a theory that if you are a real professional in what you do, you'll be able to explain the hardest aspects to a 5-year-old child. In some way, it creates an anomaly. Newbies are lucky. We may usually see how someone always asks why instead of coming to terms. This person usually ignores barriers and solves hard problems thanks to a fresh point of view. But be careful. Imagine if you are sitting in a doctor's cabinet before the surgery, and he says, you know, that's the first time I'll have a surgery, and I'm really not into it. I don't think that you would jump up, shake his hand and say, oh, finally, the fresh point of view, because I'm fed up of this carefulness. I think you'd jump up and never return there anymore. So, I think that the age is a benchmark, not a major factor. The ability to grasp the fine line is the secret of discovering people. It may sound trivial to you, but we can't wholly fix our prejudices. Realizing that you are prejudiced is the half of the way. Forewarned is forearmed. To dive into this topic, I highly recommend you reading Daniel Kahneman's book called Thinking Fast and Slow. So, hire a candidate over 50 years old and, if necessary, help him to adapt to a young team. Teach grandma to pay bills through the app. in the end, just show a little more patience with an elderly person who just delays the queue or doesn't understand something the first time. There is a theory that we remember only the beginning and the end of given info. That is why I want to spread the quintessence you should remember. I hope that the next time you'll be rating someone, you will say to yourself, I see that I can be a little bit prejudiced, and at the same moment confidently realize, but I'll do everything possible to rate he or she as a separated world consisting of personal values, principles, desires, character, skills, and so on. And no factor will let me be tied to the age. I won't lose this brilliant opportunity, because we are what we think about. Thank you.